I'm just going to give it some more beams. I'm going to do the same again. This is probably enough steel to make a couple of knives. Hey. There you go. Checkers. There you go. Looks like I've got a very funny shaped nipple, but yeah, that'll be fine.
Hi, my name is Vince and this is the UK Blade Show. In part 2 of episode 4, Joel is actually going to continue his forge welding process, working towards the feather pattern Damascus chef knife that he's making. And in this particular part of the series, Joel will show you how to stack, shape and form the actual feather pattern. This video is actually a very interesting part to the series. I won't spoil it all for you, but let's just say that in custom knife making, especially with forge welding, things don't always go as smooth as you want them to be. So make sure you watch all the way until the end of the video. But before we get into that, just very quickly, I'd like to thank our sponsors who made this video possible. We will talk about their stuff later on, but for now, let's enjoy the show.
So what you want is, you want it to be too hot because you want those grains to expand, and that helps with the weld boundary. As the two bits of metal, as the grain expands, it expands across the boundary that you've stuck these two pieces of metal together. And you can refine that again. I mean, you can go too far, you can keep it too hot for too long and it's more difficult to refine, but there are ways, thermal cycling and refining the grain structure. I mean, even smashing it with a hammer will actually help break up carbides and keep the grain structure good. But you have to work fairly hard with a power hammer to do that. It's going to be very difficult to refine grain structure using a hand hammer or a fly press. So, again, I've just taken a little bit, popped the heat down a little bit, and I've just turned the gas down and I'm down to 1080 already. So it's actually like dropped by 50 degrees. And as I go, it'll drop down more and more. So, all the beams now, yeah? So that's going to go back in. Just going to keep it fairly warm. Next heat, I'm going to go in on the shoe. So this is basically a nice, easy way of changing up your dies.
I keep changing it, don't I?
Hey.
There you go.
Looks like I've got a very funny shaped nipple, but yeah, that'll be fine.
You're not excited?
No, it's not exciting. It's just my third nipple. It's because I'm magic, see? So all of these bits in the power hammer are interchangeable, but to change those up, you need to bang wedges out, you need to change the top die, the bottom die, you need to turn everything off, you need to align everything, you need to make sure it's all set right and it's back in a good place. And then if you want to swap it up again, you have to do the same thing. You have to take wedges out, bang wedges in. You know, it's a bit of a pain. So you can use a shoe, which basically, that sits over the top there. Now that turns it into a fullering die. All there is a bit of metal, a bit of tool steel, and a flat die. So if I work both sides evenly, I'll draw that piece of material out, yeah? You'll see how much more beams it goes if it stretches. shit, you know what I haven't done? I haven't taken the corners off and turned it into what I need to do. Hang on 2 seconds. Otherwise I could put another lump of steel in and go again, but some time in it, I suppose. So what I was going to do, I was going to take it to square and I was going to put it into a V block. So a die like this, basically. And that was going to push the corners down. Yeah, does that make sense? Yeah. And then that will push that, yeah? And everything all the way through to the middle. So once we've got that, I'll then forge it down this way, really, really hard, and we'll flatten it up so we'll have a piece like this. Once we've got a piece like that, which will be like this, in its cross section, which is called W, well it's not called a W, then we'll restack it, so we've got all of the W's going through like this. Yep, and then we'll get a thing through here, and we'll cut right down the middle, which will encourage everything. So cutting hot causes drag. So as we cut down here, all of these bits of stuff will start to follow the cut, which is how you create the central bit of the feather. I am half tempted to start this again. Do you mind if I start it again, Vince?
Okay. Wait, one moment. What happened was Joel got carried away. We got carried away with the conversation about the Damascus, because he does courses and stuff. He ended up talking about the normal Damascus that he makes, but don't worry, we're going to redo the feather Damascus pattern that we wanted to do originally. So back in the forge we go.
He's my therapy dog. Yeah, I basically missed a whole section of what I was doing, so I'm getting carried away. It's very easy to get carried away with forging. Shit happens. So the technical bit, basically, to get the initial pattern that I want, I need to work from square, fairly big, spring swage. So my spring swage is square, and that's going to help tuck in the corners and push everything back together so the welds don't split. As you tuck in the corners, it should move the material around all the way in the middle, just to where I want it, to be able to create this W pattern. Once I've got the W pattern, it's all smooth sailing from there, basically. Should be anyway. That's better, that's where I want to be. And you can see there, that'll fit nicely in between there with a little bit of space for forging, yeah?
Just a quick little thank you to our sponsors. We have Clark Knives, who sells ready to grind Damascus billets, and they also do the heat treatment services for other knife makers. Multi-tool products, they do the 84 engineering belt grinders, and GFS Knife Supplies. They are a small family-run business based in the UK, but they ship worldwide. They are a one-stop shop for all your knife making needs, including a massive range of carbon steels like the 15N20, ATCR V2+, abrasive belts like the Cubitron 2, the Trizax and the Shredders, some brand new no-fume environmentally friendly polymer-based quenching liquids, G10 liners, pins, exotic and stabilized wood, Kyrenites and all the handle materials you'll need, and the Rock Blade heat kilns, which are single-phase, low-maintenance kilns capable of going to temperatures up to 1300 degrees. And the best part about this is these kilns are available on finance, which means you can buy them now, spread the cost, and level up your knife making game right away. After this video, click the links in the description below, because these sponsors, they help us in making more videos like this. So please go and check out all this stuff. Now let's get back to the video.
So just going to keep my handle nice and cool. Because I've got a handle on it this time, it's best not to burn yourself. It's not very nice burning yourself. Now you can see the shape changed quite a lot, yeah? And that is going to be worked down on this plane now, and that's what's going to give us our pattern, basically. So that's why I just wanted to go over it again. I'm just going to whip over the side quickly with an angle grinder, just to make sure I've not got any galling or sticking. Now I'm just tidying it up a little bit. The right way, as opposed to the wrong way. So, where's my chalk at? So what happens when you're welding? If I was going to weld this stack together, yeah? And we've got layers like this. Each layer, if you looked at it like a little bit closer, as you forge that down, each layer is kind of doing this, yeah? As it welds. So there's actually, I didn't clean the top, so that's got scale on it. And what happened as you forge it down more and more is you'll end up with a layer, this bit will have scale stuck in it. And that's called a gouge. It's where you've got a bit of scale or something stuck and you forged it back in on itself. So you've got like a contamination basically of the steel that you don't really want. So what I've done there is I've made sure that I've not got any gouges in there just by tickling the edges down. And the edges at this point are only little. So if I whip that bit off and I've got clean steel across there, then that means it's clean and it's nice. So this feather pattern as well, it's one of the more fussy ones. So we're going to work it in all different planes and all different angles. So if it's got any flaws or imperfections, it will want to try and split open on me. And I don't really want it to split open on me because that would be embarrassing. Bob, go and sit down. Go on, fairly. You all right?
Yeah, ready when you are.
Let's go, fairly aggressive. So that's better. You can see, even then, because the way I'm forging it, it wants to split open down here. So in a minute, we'll trim the ends off. But I'm going to do one more heat, probably get him onto the die. So what I mean by once it starts going, it's quick, that it's getting the steps right to get the pattern where I want it. It looks very similar to the other lump of steel did a minute ago, but the insides is different. Yeah, if you've welded it well, there shouldn't be any splits. This bar will end up with a split at the ends, both ends, like I say. We'll just trim that off a little bit using the tool and then clean it up and restack it. And then that's stage one done, almost.